Hey, it's Mom Peeps, Teflosion787 here today for a video about something that has happened recently in the Smash community. And if you are in the Smash community at this time, you probably already know what it is. And what I'm talking about is people overhyping the hero, saying he is OP and he needs to be banned. Now, I, of course, know that Evo for Ultimate's coming up August 3rd and 4th, but at the same time, just so you can play in an environment players have been used to for the past few months, they should hold it with patch 3.1.0, just so players get their environment that they were used to with the characters' abilities that they were used to. So, after Olimar, Peach, and Pichu got nerfed, but before Ridley, Corrin, Mewtwo, and some other characters got buffed. Basically, between patch 4.0 and patch 3.0 there. And honestly, with Hero, it's really starting to make me extremely pissed. It's something I've developed a lot of angry passion about because the claims people are making are just wrong. Sure, there may be certain things about the hero that can be busted, but at the same time, they're acting like there's no counterplay at all when there clearly is. I mean, just get up close to him and make sure he doesn't use down B. It's that simple. The only thing not Joker, sorry. About to get to that in a second, though. The only thing that the hero has that is busted are certain parts of his down B. His normals? Well, I'll just talk about some of his aerials first. His down air, a clone of Link's. Just as slow as Link's, so one of the better aerials. His up air is his best aerial. Probably his best move that is not his down B, because it is extremely quick. From what I've seen, it can combo really well and it can kill really well. But aside from that, I mean, his forward air and back air are like Marth's, but much slower. His Nair is a slower version of Ike's, and how do you get slower than that? And it has more end lag, so it can't even be used for combos. Not to mention it sends them out instead of up, so even if it was fast enough, you would not, well, even if it didn't have as much end lag as it has, you would still not be able to get proper combos off of it. Same with his down tilt, because the lag at the end of it, it's just so enormous. Sure, his forward tilt can also block projectiles, and the second hit the second hit has a lot of range, and so does the hero's sword just in general. But at the same time, when your moves are this slow, I mean, this is where a sword character gets bad. You have to realize the balance of range and speed is the most important thing for a sword character's moveset. You don't want to make their moves so fast, because then, well, you don't want to give them both a ton of range and a ton of speed with their moves, because that would oversaturate the meta on those characters who have extremely fast moves with a ton of range, so there's nearly no counterplay because they can just do everything right after another thing. So that's bad. You also don't want to make sure that they have little range and little speed to their moves, because then they will be a horrible character that no one would ever want to play. Let's take, I'll take Melee Roy for example. You see, well, I've had experience with Roy both in Ultimate and in Smash 4, but, well, Melee Roy, definitely the worst Roy has been, even though I've Haven't played that game since I was 5 and I only used the Pokemon at the time. But, anyways, Roy in that game had extremely slow moves. Range the same as Marth's, but he didn't have the tippers that Marth had. So his sword was extremely weak and you could barely get any kills without the reverse up B. And that is, well, really bad because, as you could see, he was a character that no one ever wanted to pick up and play seriously due to the fact that he was just a worse version of Marth who actually had balance between speed of his moves and range of his moves. Not to mention, well, Roy doesn't have Marth's ridiculous grab range, but I'm not going to talk about that right here. Then you have the range and speed balance with characters like Ike, let's say. His sword has some of the most range out of any moves, but at the same time, his sword is one of the slowest. So you can get a ton of combos off of neutral air, but if your normals, well, but if you can only kill with back air and up air, then, well, what are you gonna do? Because his up tilt is too slow. His forward tilt's actually decent, but that's only 3 moves you can kill with like that are actually fast enough because all his smash attacks, some of the slowest in the game. So that renders those useless unless you get a shield break or something, because that's enough frames for your opponent to actually be able to react to it. And it normally takes about 19 frames, aka 1 frame under 2/3 of a sec. I mean, 1 frame under 1/3 of a second for someone to be able to react to it. And with it being much higher than that for the amount of startup it has, well, for the amount of startup all Ike Smash attacks have, it just doesn't make them worth using unless you get something like a shield break, because they are too slow even though they have a ton of range, so they're extremely situational. Now let's go to Smash Ultimate Roy, where he has, uh, well, his range isn't too good, but the speed of his moves is really good. Now Roy, I have a hugely unpopular opinion that he's top 3 in the game. Yeah, most people say that their mains are extremely bad so they get buffed, but I'm fine with Roy as he is. If he gets nerfed, I'll probably still main him. But, anyways, well, Roy's moves, it's like how Marth is in any games, but instead of the tipper mechanic, you try to hit your opponent with the base of the sword, or the part closest to the character's hurt box, I should say, because that will give you more power and be able to lead into more. And as a result, Roy turns out to be a really good character. And yes, Ike did turn out to be really good, even though he doesn't have as many results anymore. But back to Roy. Roy turned out to be a phenomenal character due to the fact that his moves are much faster than in other games. And when I say much faster, I don't just mean what Ultimate did for every character. I mean like that times 2, which really made it to where Roy could actually be, well, to where Roy was recognized to be tournament viable finally. And finally, Tweak won a tournament. I forgot which one it was, but it was against Mars. And he pulled out the Roy against Mars in Winners Finals and in Grand Finals to seal the victory. Now, where do we get to Hero? Okay, sorry about all that talk, but it was really important to lay down the basis of a sword character and the factors that go into how good or bad they are, with those two being the main 2 factors. But Hero, all of his moves that I have seen, well, are extremely slow and don't really have too much power aside from his smash attacks. And along with that, sure, they may have a decent amount of range, but it's not game breaking. So, yeah, the only broken part about the hero, because his normals, meh, his aerials, bad aside from up air, his smash attacks, average, his up B, no hitbox above it, so you're vulnerable, but at the same time it's not the worst. His side B, good. His neutral B, also good. His down B has several options and is the main reason why people consider him OP, because along with a lot of them just being made to be normally good, you have a few busted ones when it also is able to randomly select one, but at the same time you're able to change the selection for four of the moves you can get out of down B by pressing the shield button. But even then, you have to take a ton of time and learn how to truly optimize each one, so the hero will take more practice than probably even Shulk or Pac-Man, I would say, to fully optimize and master to where he is tournament viable, simply due to the fact that he has so many different options that can come out, and you will have to be able to fully optimize all of them to do good in tournaments instead of relying on a few others to have luck. And okay, here's where Joker comes in. The hero situation is quite opposite to characters like Joker, Smash 4 Bayonetta, or Smash 4 Meta Knight. Well, I mean, not Smash 4 Meta Knight, but Brawl Meta Knight, who I am deciding not to mention right now, but anyways, well, with Joker, so many people, well, actually not so many people, but one person specifically has been doing well with him, and other than that, there's only one person who secondaries him that is even on the PGR top 50. Leo is first and he mains Joker, but people are saying that Joker's OP despite the fact that he does have clear weaknesses that make him to where he's far from top 3 in the game, at least in my opinion. I've seen people like Esam and Zero putting him in top 3, but I'd say only bottom of top tier. Because aside from Joker's lack of ability to kill without arson, at the, at the same time he has a mediocre, sorry, keep belching for some reason. He has a mediocre recovery in his normal state without arson, and with arson, his recovery actually gets worse. So, if you exploit those two weaknesses, especially the fact that Joker kind of has to rely on stray hits and being hit, because with Joker, the two ways he gets arson is waiting, trying to stall and camp out, or getting hit by his opponent. So with those, you can use that to your advantage where you just camp him out after he gets arson, because the more moves Joker does, you can, well, the more moves Joker does when he has arson, the faster arson will drain, of course. And also, the more you hit Joker when he has arson, it will do the same thing. So you can either play hyper aggressive or hyper defensive and still be able to beat Joker, which, well, renders him to where, while Leo is doing an absolutely phenomenal job, he is not OP. And I can get where people are coming from with wanting new players to be doing good in the scenes instead of players that we've known for now 5 years. But at the same time, We don't, well, as human beings, we shouldn't try to jeopardize their career by getting the character they do best with banned for no reason. And while there's no case like that with the hero yet, there probably will be soon, but even then, even without that, people have been complaining that Hero is OP when really he is not, and I'd say he's only bottom of high tier at the highest. And along with that, well, come on, guys. He hasn't even been out for 3 days yet. This is day 2 of Joker being out on the day I'm recording this. People were saying OP before he was even released. Yeah. And along with that, well, I know you want to see new players join the scene and do well, but at the same time, we can't just jeopardize people's career. We can ask for buffs and nerfs, but we shouldn't just be trying to bring someone down. We should be trying to help others reach the same point of success, which is one reason why Japan's average level of players are much better than America's level of average players, because Japanese people most of the time are willing to help another person get better at the game, despite if they are some low level and the player helping them is an extremely high level player. While Americans, they just don't want more people to end up being successful in there so they can have better tournament results. And while I get that, it's not the right thing to do, especially if you are someone who wants new players to be recognized for being good. Honestly, I mean, do y'all remember when Leo wasn't even recognized in Smash 4? Before Tweak mained Cloud? He wasn't even top 100 at that time, I believe. But after Tweak picked up Cloud, after Leo won Zero Saga, they started going on a rampage, becoming some of the best Smash players to ever exist on this universe. Through their dedication and will alone, they pushed themselves to where they had the skill to be as successful as they are now. And as other players, we should not try to diminish that by getting Leo's main banned or by getting hero banned. I mean, what will we do if some sort of hero player randomly pops up, beats Leo plenty of times, and becomes #1 on the PGR? That would be amazing, but at the same time, even though people would complain more about hero, of course, because someone's actually doing well with him, then at the same time, we they were a new player once. We should remember their success story and not try to diminish all their work that they've done, because one person can drag down all the work of many people. I've learned that, and I've known that for many years. Look, it's time to stop complaining about the hero, especially because he's barely been out at all. It is time we join together as a community to realize that we need to let characters be fully optimized before we start complaining about random things. Okay? I know that a lot of you who are subscribed to my channel aren't in the Smash community and don't even know about it for some of you. But for those of you who are, just please don't complain, at least until someone has actual results to make your thoughts feel, well, to make your thoughts more evident to other people. Please. if this drama keeps going on, there will be no more Smash Community. Before Ultimate is even before Ultimate's even a year old or 3/4 of a year old. At this time, it's about half of a year old. And I don't want to see this brilliant, phenomenal, perfect, dare I say, game go to waste because people couldn't stop complaining about a character that wasn't even top tier. Anyways, guys, this has been Typhlosion787, and I'm out of the house. Bye!